So yeah, and then you can look at ratings and reviews. I think that's the beauty of it is you really get to see, okay, this person's rented it 40 times. What are people saying? And then 61 a day for a Tesla. I mean, that's pretty good. So that in comparison to rental cars, you're going to get cheaper options. You get, I love the app. It's similar to Airbnb. You also kind of get more of an experience, which is great. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of World Travel Made Easy with Itinerary Boss. I'm Ross, your guide to all things travel. Today, we're going to dive into rental cars as well as Turo and how to leverage both these rental car platforms to travel, maximize rewards and dive into more kind of an uncovered gem that a lot of people don't know about, which is one of my new favorite tools, apps to use, which is Turo. And you can think of that as the Airbnb for rental cars. So whether you're, looking to rent something for a business trip, a family vacation, a weekend getaway, being able to leverage these is going to be very important. And I'm going to dive into, rental cars first because that's where I started when I started on my journey for traveling really for business. I started using rental cars when I was flying to different places. I signed up for Hertz right off the bat, was able to get rewards, get to gold and platinum where I could get upgrades. I was able to not have to check in at the rental car counter, which I think that's what everyone hates having to do, waiting in that line, and just getting those cars, getting those reward status. And then from there, being able to leverage some of those cars and travel for some of your personal travel, similar to what we've talked about on some of those hotel free nights from some of the different booking rewards platforms. That's the nice part about some of the rental cars and, being able to build up some of that status. So being able to check in, check out, free upgrades, going from and also having, different ones to choose from. So I think I like to stay with, one. I did Hertz. You have enterprise, you have budget, you have Avis, you have national, you have Alamo. So having those in your back pocket, just knowing like they're gonna have those available. So I think those are really the highlights. And I'll share my screen just that way you can kind of see just from a quick, hey, this is right off the bat, this is how you sign up. So if you were just to go in, sign up for, you could go to not a member yet, join now. And it's just as simple as that. And again, you're not paying any sort of membership fee. I think that's the biggest thing. If you have a discount code, if you're part of a corporation, or if you know another corporation's discount code, you can use that. That'll help save you some money. And then from there, it's just simple, right? You just go in, pick up, drop off. You can also do those if you're traveling to, I think the nice thing about rental cars in comparison to Turo, and we'll get into Turo, is, and this might be available, but I know on Turo, but for rental cars, if you're doing a multi-city destination, so if you're traveling for work, I'll just use an example. If you're flying from Charlotte to Richmond, Virginia, and you want to pick up to visit customers in Richmond, Virginia, and you want to pick up a rental car in Richmond at the airport, but then you want to drive to, let's just say Norfolk, since it's an hour away, or you just want to drive, or some, up in DC, since those are pretty close by. You can set your pickup date and time the at the Richmond airport, and then you can pick your drop off date and time at the DC or the Norfolk airport, and you can do multi city destination. It's going to cost a little bit more, but I think that's the nice thing with rental cars. So you can go in and similar to all these, right? You can get exclusive deals. You join for free. I think that's the biggest thing I just wanted to show is being able to do that. You also can search locations. You can kind of see what the benefits are. What are some deals? Buy. See, I've never used that. But then just going in and using all of these, I think this is good. So pretty simple, easy to use, similar to the hotel programs we were talking, hotel and airlines programs we were talking about. But again, I think the biggest thing is regardless of if you pick Hertz, if you pick enterprise, if you pick budget, if you pick Avis, if you pick Alamo National Rent a Car, signing up for one and just starting to earn rewards if you want to use rental cars is important. So that's really it at a high level around rental cars. Next, I'm going to go over to Turo. So Turo's, I'd say, my favorite car rental app. I mean, I use it personally. My fiance uses it for work. And if you use it for work, if your company allows it, I love it. And I think right off the bat, right, they're coming at rental cars. So it's kind of rental cars versus Turo, which, they're kind of like Airbnb, right? They're trying to change the game and you're skipping the counter. I think that's big. The nice thing is you can go back and forth with the guests. I'm sorry, you as the guest can go back and forth with the host, similar to Airbnb messaging. So I think the biggest thing that draws it to me is you can get like more luxury options. So, for example, when we went to California for a wedding, we wanted to rent a car, and we were on vacation, so I said, "Oh, I'd like to get something like nicer," and we were able to get a Range Rover for $110 a day. Um, and that was, usually they don't have those at rental car places, or they're going to be way more expensive. So they offer, much less of a cost. Sometimes you do have to buy, if you want to buy insurance, it's going to be a little bit more expensive, but it just kind of depends on what your itinerary is, and do you feel comfortable? Like, for example, when we went out for our snowboarding trip to Colorado and Park City, we bought the extra insurance, but we were able to find a pickup truck, as well as we were able to find a Suburban, which sometimes are going to be way more expensive on rental cars. So that's what I like about Turo. It also provides a convenience. So you also can combine a convenience option. So being able to, go back and forth with the host, being able to pick it up. Sometimes they'll drop it off for you. Like, for example, when we were in LA, the host dropped it off right at arrivals, and we just took the keys and went. Sometimes they'll have it right there in like the day parking. You'll just go back and forth with the guest or the host on when you're arriving. Okay, we're just going to use this as an example. And that's the nice is you get to communicate. It's personalized. You can come in here, you can choose what your price is, you can choose what your vehicle type is, you can choose what your make is. So if you want to ball out and get an Aston Martin, if you want to get, other things, you can. When you're like, for example, like I mentioned, if you need a four-wheel drive for the snow for a snowboarding trip, picking one of those and making sure it has, that four-wheel drive is key. And then, how many years, seats, if you're going on a group trip, right? There's probably going to be less of these, but you can go and pick up and find those. And then what I like too is it has their rating, it has how many trips, and it has if they're an all-star host. So if you're familiar with Airbnb, this is key. You go and download the app. If you want an EV, you can choose that. Pickup options if you want to have it. So I think, let me take a step back. So if you want to have it picked up at Salt Lake City Airport or at the airport, you definitely want to pick that. If you want it nearby, you can have that done. For example, when we went to Scottsdale for a wedding and we were staying in an Airbnb for 4 nights, and then we were heading up to the northern part to go to Antelope Canyon, Horseshoe Bend, Grand Canyon, Sedona, we didn't want to have to Uber from our Scottsdale Airbnb 20 minutes to the Phoenix airport and deal with that. We just were messaging with our host and asked them prior, hey, we're going to be staying at this address. Could you drop off the car at this time on this date? And they said, yeah. Sometimes you may have to pay a little bit extra, but most of the time the hosts are going to be pretty cool about it and be willing. So you just go into, and then it also has any delivery fee. So you can pick that, pick up near, and you could do all pickup options. So I think so it's usually these will say free pickup at Salt Lake. So let's go to this one, for example. So this didn't have free pickup, but then you can say pickup and return free. And then this one has Salt Lake City International Airport, $45. So if you really want this car, then you could do that. There's also sometimes cancellations. Going in here, the description. I love this. It's similar to Airbnb, which is great. You can look at the features, which is nice. Extras, you can look at that. So yeah, and then you can look at ratings and reviews. I think that's the beauty of it is you really get to see, okay, this person's rented it 40 times. What are people saying? And then 61 a day for a Tesla. I mean, that's pretty good. So that in comparison to rental cars, you're going to get cheaper options. You get, I love the app. It's similar to Airbnb. You also kind of get more of an experience, which is great. And you can pick, between, okay, do I want it picked up? Am I going to be somewhere else? But I think the one thing is if you're trying to do a multi-city destination, flying in and out from different airports, it's going to be a lot harder to use Turo. So just to recap, I think either option is great. Rental cars, signing up just so you have that. Even if you want to use Turo, just go ahead and sign up, whether it's Hertz, Enterprise, whatever. I found Hertz is, from looking at the others, was the one I liked the most, just based off affordability. And if you're looking for more a unique luxury experience and just leveraging technology and getting, newer cars as well as being able to, save a little bit of money, and just having that flexibility. And I think also for bigger cars, if you are going on group trips, like Turo is going to be a better option because they do provide more options sometimes than some of the rental car places with those larger non-sedan for SUVs. So I highly recommend, signing up for those, whether it's Turo, whether it's the rental cars, doing both. And yeah, and subscribe to the podcast, give us a follow, make sure, if there's any affiliate links that you want to click into to help support us, but also, if you're starting to want to use credit cards more and more to travel hack, we'll include some of those sign up bonuses within the show notes. That helps you get more of an exclusive bonus as well as, we are a part of that affiliate network. So it gets us, helps us get paid to keep the show going. But again, give us a follow so you don't miss out on any of these weekly episodes. Also, give us a rating and review if you think the podcast deserves a 5-star review, and share with a family or friend. If people are looking to travel, learn to have more tips and tricks, and just start to elevate their life through travel. Hopefully, this brings value to them. But in that case, we'll wrap up here and tune into next week's episode to learn more. Hope everyone has a great week. Peace.